Noswaith dda, look who's back. It's us, myself, David Cannan and Gito Williams. We're back here for another episode on the NFL Cymru podcast. We took a week off, a small hiatus. Well, it's kind of that period, Gito, between the end of the Super Bowl. We've got the lull basically after the Super Bowl. Free agency, however, is upon us in potentially 2 weeks. I had to actually look up just before we press record when free agency officially starts. So basically, it's going to start within the next 2 weeks. March the 11th is the official date for the league year. The new NFL league year begins. And then 4 p.m. Eastern time, that's when free agency officially starts, Gito. However, the negotiating window opens on the Monday, so on the 9th. However, let's be honest, Gito. The combine, the NFL combine, where all the best college prospects try and basically it's a window shopping experience for them, and they put through their paces, and basically I probably all the agents are there, all the GMs, head coaches, if not owners, are there as well, just looking to see. And basically, from what I hear, Gito, the negotiations are actually they start now, when the combine, because obviously it's a perfect time to have a conversation to say, are you up for a trade? What are you after? How can this benefit me? So, there's a lot of conversations going on, potentially, on the field itself, after hours, in restaurants, on the golf course, all chatter is going on. But the official date for the beginning of free agency is March the 11th. So yeah, within literally less than 2 weeks. 2 weeks yesterday, actually. Oh no, 2 weeks today. Sorry, 2 weeks today. So yeah, exciting time. Free agency, I think I've said in the past, is definitely one of my favorite pieces of the NFL yearly calendar per se, because there's so many twists and turns, and there's always a surprise move in terms of a trade, or if there's someone, if there's a big free agent out there. And we're going to actually talk about free agency and some of our top prospects, or our top free agents, very very shortly. Before we do that, Gito, um, I'm gonna have to rant a little bit about. Well, no, actually, I don't need to rant about the Dolphins, because I'm more zen about the Dolphins. Because let's be honest, the purge has already started. Last Monday, we got the announcement that the Dolphins were releasing Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, um, James Daniels, who played 3 snaps in the regular season before sustaining a season-ending injury, and Nick Westbrook-Akine. So, can I start off with, okay, I think all of these were a given. For all Dolphins fans are very, very aware that it's a complete rebuild, Gito. New GM, new head coach, new philosophy. Hopefully, is going to bring us new luck, because no playoff win in the last 25 years. So something clearly needs to change. And we've had cycles of this, and hopefully, those two coming from Green Bay, John Erickson, are now a new GM, and Jeff Hafley, our new head coach. So obviously, we knew that Tyreek Hill was going to be a cap, um, a cap treater, because ultimately, he suffered a really really bad injury, week 3 last year, and I think he was gonna contribute something ridiculous, like 40-50 million against the cap. So clearly he was gone. However, I'd like to pay tribute, because Tyreek Hill has made supporting the Dolphins fun for the last 4 years. And obviously, a lot of baggage comes with Tyreek Hill. The off the field issues. He's been arrested so many times. He's demanded a trade. He has demanded that he's paid as the number one wide receiver in the NFL. And to be fair, in 2023, he was voted as the number one best player in the NFL. So yeah, a tribute to Tyreek Hill. It's been a fun 4 years. However, it's time to move on. So yeah, the Dolphins are going into scorch earth mode, which means that the next potentially person on the block, Guitar, undoubtedly, is Tua Tagovailoa. However, the Dolphins are open to negotiation, whether they're going to try their best to try and trade Tua. I think this is very, very unlikely. With all due respect, who's going to trade for Tua, a person that is um, clearly um, a shadow of himself? We saw this in 2025. Maybe the injuries are slowly catching up for him. Plus, the Dolphins are going to take a massive cap hit. It might be something between 50 and 99 million. Depends if they trade, if they cut him now in March, or they designate him as a June 1st cut as well. So we're going to take a massive, massive hit. It was a huge mistake for the Dolphins organization to give Tua that massive 200 million contract. So anyway, out with the old, in with the new. 2026 Guitar is going to be really, really rough for us Dolphins fans, and potentially 2027 as well. But we're going to start with another rebuild. Who knows? I've heard of other names on the trade block as well. Minka Fitzpatrick is definitely going to be traded within the next couple of weeks. Perhaps if someone offers a first round pick for Jalen Waddle, I'd consider it. I don't know how far they're willing to go, basically. So we did this in 2019. We're doing it again in 2026. So that is the state of the Dolphins at the moment, Gitter. I apologise. I've just realised that I've literally talked for 6.5 minutes solid. Anyway, let's scrap the Dolphins for a while. Let's be honest, your Atlanta Falcons have been in the news recently. A few memorable pieces of news to note. Take it away.
Yeah, so thank you for letting me resting my voice, by the way, there, David. So some big news to cover from the Falcons camp. First of all, the tight end situation with Kyle Pitts, it was questionable as to if obviously he's done his fourth year. Do we decide to let him go on a trade or on a free agency, or do we franchise tag him and keep him for another year? Well, it has been confirmed that he has been tagged, and we have Pitts for another year at least, which for me personally, I'm a fan of Kyle Pitts. I'm very happy about this. I think it's important for us, especially going into the 2026 season. Obviously, Michael Penix was our quarterback last season, obviously with Kirk Cousins replacing him halfway through to injury. We need to keep our core players on offense. So you've got your Kyle Pitts on tight end, Bijan Robinson as a running back, and Drake London as the star wide receiver. We need to keep those core elements in our offense to succeed in the league, because those are our 4 main superstars players in this team. So I'm very happy that Kyle Pitts is staying for another year. Hopefully they can work out on a longer deal. And Kyle Pitts is one of them players. Obviously he was brought in from the draft 4 years ago, and statistically wise, he's improved every season. He just needs to show a little bit more spark, which I do think he has. He has that potential to be that great player, and hopefully in year 5 he will show how good he really is. On to our quarterback situation, and it has been confirmed. The GM, our new GM, has confirmed on March 11th, when the free agency gate opens, that Kirk Cousins will be leaving the Falcons. This probably was expected. They rearranged his contract a couple of months ago, just before the new year, to make sure obviously we don't take as much of a cap hit, and everything else political wise there, all the money background, which I kind of do not understand, but we move on from that one. But yeah, we won't be taking as much of a cap hit when releasing Kirk Cousins. It'll be about 20-30 mil, but we'll still have enough money to play around, which is a good thing. We won't have the bottom 5 lowest cap hit like we did the last couple of seasons. But Kirk Cousins, he will be leaving the Atlanta Falcons after 2 seasons. I did like when Kirk Cousins was announced as the Falcons, I was excited, and I was really, really hoping that it would work out for him. I didn't care about the amount of money that he was on, the length of the deal, the age, because I still thought he was a very decent quarterback, even though with the history with his injuries. Am I gutted to see him go? I think gutted might be a strong word. I am maybe sad to see him leave, but hoping because it didn't really work out for him. He didn't play a full season with us with the Falcons. He showed some great things. I think the last 4 or 5 games he played for us, he did really well. And obviously, it was a bittersweet that he won his final game for the Falcons against the Saints. I think that's a pretty good send off for him, to be quite honest with you. So, but yeah, sad to see him go, but it just didn't work out for him in the end. We've got a young quarterback in Michael Penix Jr., and we can just look forward to the future now with this core young offense that we've got and some great superstars in there as well. We just need to pick up another quarterback that will possibly be a decent backup for Michael Penix Jr. And there is a name that I have in mind, which we will bring up to later on in our later topic. But those are the two main news from the Falcons camp. It was announced earlier as well that Daryl Hodge, our wide receiver, has been released as well, so that's going to save us a couple of million as well. Caden Ellis is another one that's just came to my head that they're exploring trade options, which for me, I think he is 29 years old. He's going to be turning 30, I believe, soon. He is one of our best defense player in his position, I think, in our squad. I think it would be a mistake letting him go, but as the GM mentioned when he was asked about it, we have to make some tough decisions. So hopefully they can work all that around there. But because I'm a big fan of Caden Ellis, but we'll have to wait and see. Like you said, free agency, anything can happen. A lot can happen. It's your favorite time of year. For us to post our breaking news and everything, it could be one of the busiest time of the year as NFL fans, or when you have an NFL page like us. So, but yeah, it'll be some interesting weeks coming ahead. I do hope they work around the Caden Ellis deal. But yeah, those are the 3 big news coming from the Falcons camp.
Just quickly back, Gito, to you were saying Kyle Pitts has been franchise tagged. So for those of you who don't really know what that is and how it works, franchise tag is basically you have a franchise tag for every single position in the NFL. So I'm going to guess that a franchise tag for a 5th-year tight end is going to be something between 10 and 15 million per year, which is a significant chunk of change. So another team then has the opportunity, all other 31 teams have an opportunity to match that deal or even do something better. Maybe they want to give him a raise or something like that. However, the team that has tagged you, aka the Atlanta Falcons in this instance, has the option to match that as well. So basically, it does go to the Falcons' advantage, or the team that has given the franchise tags advantage. So basically, the Atlanta Falcons are saying that ultimately we're going to do our best to keep you, Kyle Pitts. However, if we're going to be blown away by another option, by another enticing offer, potentially we might field it. But I personally I think, like you said, Kyle Pitts is going to be safe in Atlanta for at least another year. And let's hope, like you said, he keeps developing like he has. Secondly, on Kirk Cousins, you know, when Falcons shocked really the whole of the NFL world and drafted Michael Penix, I think it was with a top 10 pick. And everyone
Yeah.
went absolutely crazy thinking, what on earth are they doing? They've just given Kirk Cousins a huge deal. However, let's be honest, that was a stroke of genius because it clearly hasn't worked out with Cousins. He's been extremely injury prone since he's been with the Falcons as well. And it's just very unfortunate now that the Penix has torn an ACL and he's going to be out potentially for half a year. So yeah, the Falcons are definitely going to be a team that's going to be looking for a quarterback. I think we're going to be talking about at least 6 or 7 teams that'll be fishing for a quarterback in free agency. But in terms of Kirk Cousins, Gito, I think we talked about this just before coming on the air. All reports that I've heard is that apparently he will be potentially going back to Minnesota, where he spent 3 or 4 years. Undoubtedly, that's where he played the best football of his career. I'm pretty sure that the Vikings aren't 100% happy with JJ McCarthy, and how the 2025 season went with him. Obviously, he missed the whole of the 2024 season with an injury. So, is there going to be a camp battle between JJ McCarthy and Kirk Cousins in Minnesota? That would be very, very intriguing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be a blessing in disguise for JJ McCarthy as well, having somebody like Kirk Cousins at the camp that he can learn from as well. So obviously we'll have to wait and see with that situation. Obviously, it was a blessing in disguise with, obviously we mentioned this one before, going off topic a little bit, with Sam Darnold taking over when JJ got injured straight away from being drafted. But yeah, the noise has it that Kirk Cousins will probably be going back to Minnesota, probably ending his career in Minnesota if he's got another season or two. So yeah, it will be interesting to see where what happens there and with JJ as well. Would they start Kirk in front of JJ McCarthy? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that one. Just going back on the Kyle Pitts situation, yeah. So you are correct. I'm just going to read this statement really quickly for you. So the Atlanta Falcons will have Kyle Pitts at least one more season after using the franchise tag on the tight end they selected with the 4th pick in the 2021 draft. The franchise tag cost the team around 16.5 mil, all of which will count against the 2026 salary cap. So yeah, like you mentioned, you between the 10 and 16 million mark there.
God, that is a lot. That's a lot of money. That's well. Do you know what? Is it for a tight end? I don't know. I mean, if the Falcons are willing to pay 16 million for 1 year for Kyle Pitts, clearly he's needed, and like you said, he's a big part of that offense. And I think they're doing the right thing here with a new coach, a new GM, in Stefanski. I think, like you said, they need to keep the core together, and especially until Penix comes back, and whoever that will be, who that QB will be for the first half of the season or so, until Penix comes back. So yeah, back to that very, very shortly. Gito, I'm going to pass this over to you because some news about international games has dropped literally within the last 24 hours, if not this afternoon, I believe.
Yes, this afternoon. So we finally found out who will be hosting the games in London coming up in 2026. And there'll be 2 home teams playing in 3 games. So the Washington Commanders are making a return after 10 years. They will be playing likely at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And the Jacksonville Jaguars will be the home team for 2 fixtures this season, playing in Tottenham and their usual stadium in Wembley Stadium. I believe this is due to because there is a renovation going up their current home stadium at the moment. So they will be playing 6 home games at their actual stadium next season. So that's why they'll be playing an extra game here in London. This is what's been reported anyway. So when I first saw the announcement, we were hoping for a 3rd team. However, they I read that was okay. That makes good sense actually. So there we go. So the Commanders and the Jacksonville Jaguars will be hosting games in London this year. It's also been reported that the Detroit Lions will be playing a game in Munich. However, it has not been confirmed if they are the actual home designated team. So from all the international fixtures list, there's only one city left that hasn't got a team, and there's only one team that that's been confirmed to host an international game, the Atlanta Falcons, to not have a city. So the Falcons will either be the home team in Munich going up against the Detroit Lions because they are part of the schedule, or the Falcons will be hosting a game in Madrid. The Dolphins hosted a game in Madrid last season, so it might be a Falcons' turn to host a game at the Santiago Bernabeu, or there will be an exciting encounter between the Detroit Lions and the Atlanta Falcons. Munich it was Berlin last season, so Germany wasn't too kind for us last season. So hopefully, if it is Munich this season, hopefully it will be a better turnaround. But yeah, we're just waiting to see what's happening with the Madrid game and where the Falcons will be playing, and then that's all the home fixtures all but confirmed.
Well, I mean, Guitar, let's be honest, if the Falcons play either in Berlin or Madrid, you in Munich, sorry, in Munich or Madrid. I mean, you can't go wrong. Both are a fantastic um, travel opportunity, perhaps if you're willing to kind of, because I contemplated last year going to see the Dolphins in Madrid. And to be honest with you, by the end, the ticket prices did come down quite drastically. However, because I think I've mentioned before, I'm a sports commentator. My weekends are completely full, and I was actually away on a family holiday on that weekend anyway, so I couldn't make it. However, I mean, if you're able to go and see, I mean, I've had the pleasure of going of seeing an international game in Germany, in Frankfurt 2 years ago. Um, Absolutely incredible. So yeah, I mean, like I said, if it's in Munich or in Madrid, you get to experience either potentially the best sporting stadium in the world, the Santiago Bernabeu, or a really cool atmosphere in Bayern, in Munich rather, in the Bayern Munich stadium against one of the big hitters in the Detroit Lions. So that's really
Yeah.
really cool. Just back to the Jags as well. I think the Jags have played at least 2 games in London. I'm now for at least 3 or 4 years, I believe. However, interesting about the stadium renovations in actual Jacksonville. I didn't know that, but their London games has turned into virtually a home game for them. Not quite as if they were back in Jacksonville, obviously, but back in Duval.
Yeah.
But yeah, it like I said, it is basically a home away from home for Jacksonville. And I believe they've been pretty successful, apart from when they got absolutely hammered by the Rams last year, if I'm correct. I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely looking forward to those. Great, Guitar. Shall we? I think we're going to venture on to some. I've written 5 of my free agents to watch
Hmm.
out, because, like I said, we're only 2 weeks out to the
Yeah.
day from the beginning of free agency. Let's start off with quarterbacks, because
Yeah.
let's be honest, obviously, I think we've mentioned in the past, in terms of the draft, there's only going to be one QB, and that's going to be drafted as number 1, and that's going to be Fernando Mendoza. I'd be completely shocked if there's another QB taken in the first round. It's that kind of draft. Sometimes you have, it's quarterback heavy. This year, it's really not. Apart from Fernando Mendoza, a lot of QBs actually have decided to go back to college. So maybe 2027 will be a stronger group. But anyway, so
Yeah.
in terms of quarterbacks, in terms of in free agency, it's slim pickings, Guitar. However, without doubt, well, I actually went on the NFL.com webpage, and they have Malik Willis as the number 1 free agent, which is absolutely wild if you think about it. He has
Mm.
6 starts in his career. Started off with Tennessee, and now he was traded to the Green Bay Packers. Played really, really well for the Packers. I have to say, when Jordan Love was injured this season, I think he had 3 games, and I think he won every single one. Um, Great passer rating, uh, really good touchdown to interception ratio as well, and he played some really decent teams. I think he won against the Ravens, for instance, in Baltimore. So. Um, I just don't know, in terms the sample size. Guitar is so small. It's only six starts in the NFL, and the money that I've heard in terms of salary wise is going to be minimum 30, potentially 13.5 million a year for Malik Willis, which is absolutely wild. Again, which brings into context the group of free agents, or how bad the QB situation is going to be, because another name that we've heard is coming out of retirement is Derek Carr. He's been linked to the Jets. Another one definitely that potentially might be traded is Tua, obviously, of the Dolphins. Kyler Murray, we're not quite sure what's going on in Arizona as well. I'm pretty sure that Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel aren't viewed as the number one quarterback in Cleveland. So Gito, let's list off the teams that'll be looking for a quarterback during this off season. Obviously, we just named two there. Atlanta will be looking for a quarterback until Penix comes back. The Dolphins definitely are gagging for a quarterback because, getting away from Tua, unless we're going to go with Quinn Ewers, our 7th-round rookie. Cleveland, I mentioned.
Yeah.
Arizona, potentially, are going to move on. Who else have we got? Gitter, remind me. The
Did you
Jets.
mention
Sorry, the Jets.
the Jets? Yep. There's a couple of teams that will be looking at early season injury stand-ins. So, for example, here we've got the Indianapolis Colts, depending if DJ Daniel
Yeah,
Jones, Indiana Jones, will be
yeah.
ready and fit for the new season. And also the Kansas City Chiefs. We don't know when Kirk Cousins, I do apologize. We don't know
Oh.
when Patrick Mahomes will be coming back and if he's fit and ready. So I'm looking at ESPN here, and I'm going to give you the two predictions that they've put out for these two teams. The
Yeah.
Indianapolis, they predicted that Gardner Minshew will be the early season quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, and for the Kansas City Chiefs, Marcus Mariota, who's been here, there, and everywhere. So he's an okay backup.
Oh.
He's a decent backup, but he's not a number one QB anywhere in the league. I don't think so. He's probably there just to fill the void. To be honest with you, yeah. I mentioned we mentioned the Falcons as well. So I want to go back to that. So we will be looking for another quarterback, not to take over the QB1 seats for Michael Penix Jr. Maybe give him a good competition though. So there's a name that's been going around. Some reporters and who's based in Atlanta, who works closely to the Atlanta Falcons, and there's a QB name that's been flying around, and I'm actually quite excited about this one. We've mentioned him in our podcast before, Tyson Bagent, who has a year left in his Chicago Bears contract, his $10 million contract, which is very cheap in my opinion. We do need a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
I think Tyson Brent will fill that void perfectly. And if not, if Michael Penix Jr. isn't back in time, then Tyson Bagent, who's proved really well in pre-season last season, didn't get as much games didn't get any game in the regular season. But I still think if he still has that talent on him and he can show it, then I think that will be a tremendous pick for the Atlanta Falcons to go forward. Someone like Tyson Bagent, just to cover for Michael Penix Jr., if not give Michael Penix that good competition to be the starting quarterback as well. Because I think Tyson Bagent does have what it takes. But obviously, Michael Penix is our guy at the moment. But I would be very interested. I'll be very happy if we pick up someone like Tyson Bagent to be in that camp as well.
Absolutely. I mean, someone like Tyson Badger he's gonna have a massive market. However, like you said, because he's got a year left on his contract, people will need to. The Falcons will need to trade for him.
Yeah.
Whether you can get him for, I don't know, a 4th-round pick, maybe 4th, 5th-round pick for Tyson Bagent potentially. Other instances, the same thing goes for Jameis Winston is another name that I've heard potentially might be on the move. He again is under contract with the Giants. One team, Gitter, that we've completely forgot to mention, and this might be a big one, a significant one, is obviously the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, we're hearing reports that we're not 100% sure if Aaron Rodgers is coming back. For me, Gitter, I hope he doesn't, because I'm so bored of Aaron Rodgers. I think it's just I thought the Pittsburgh offense was dull towards the end of the season. I just don't see how they're going to win with him, even if they put a superstar team around him. I just don't think. Well, clearly he's not the same player anymore. I'd be intrigued if Malik Willis would go to Pittsburgh. I think that's his best fit there, without a shadow of a doubt. Pittsburgh is the best option outside of Atlanta. I'd put Atlanta the second best option, but I'd put Pittsburgh there because obviously, obviously, well, they've still got McCarthy. They've got a brand new coach coming in there. But McCarthy, former Green Bay Packers, are they going to be using the same kind of? Is there going to be a crossover in terms of styles there? I'm not quite sure. So that might be a good fit for Malik Willis. Tyson Badgett, like I said, there's reports that Derek Carr, like I said, is coming out of retirement and he's been linked with the Jets. That's all I'm going to say. Crack on. I'm
Mm.
more than happy for Derek Carr to go to the Jets because that, for me, Guitar, is a car crash waiting to happen. Um,
Yeah.
and then in terms of other names, Jameis Winston. I'm not sure if Joe Flacco is going to come back to play for another year. Is Shedeur Sanders going to be shipped? I don't know, but it's really slim pickings. The only enticing one for me potentially would be Kyler Murray in
Yeah.
Arizona. What do you
Mm.
think about that?
Yeah, Kyler Murray is a name that's just on my screen now as well. The ESPN are predicting that Kyler Murray will be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. So obviously, depending what's going to happen with Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, there was rumors
Yeah.
before that Dylan Gabriel would make the jump to Atlanta. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I don't have any opinions on that
Mm.
one, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, Kyler Murray is one to watch because it hasn't worked out for the last 2 seasons for the Arizona Cardinals. They will be looking to move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Cleveland Browns going for Kyler Murray might be an interesting shot for them. But I think what teams need to watch out for now is obviously we've just had a redemption story from Sam Darnold, who didn't have the best of 4 or 5 seasons, but his last 2 seasons he
Mm.
basically skyrocketed, and it and he's just won the Super Bowl. So obviously there's that Cinderella story.
Yeah.
So a lot of teams, I think they'll need to be careful now with in terms of not expecting every player to be like that as well. So they'll need to be careful who they
Yeah.
actually pick because they'll be hoping for a quarterback that can take him for 3, 4, 5 seasons. Sam Darnold can take the Seahawks for another 2, 3 seasons. I think Seahawks will be one of the best teams again next season. Sam Darnold will play a
Yeah.
pivotal role in that one. But yeah, it will be interesting to see because a quarterback is the main position in the NFL. And every team needs to get it right to get the team working. Um, the Jets
Sure.
going for Derek Carr is laughable, in my opinion. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
yeah. The Jets are not going to win a Super Bowl anytime soon, are they? So, to consider that Derek Carr wants to join a team that will compete. Okay, the Jets have like 100 extra picks this year in the draft and some money to play around,
Yeah.
but are they going to win? Are they going to be competing next season in the next 2 seasons? I don't know. No. So, yeah, not a lot to say on that one.
Like,
But yeah,
well, like you said, Guitar, they've got all these picks, but I don't trust
mm,
their organization to do right with them. Don't get me wrong. In the past, they have drafted really, really well. Brees Hall, um, um, good gosh, I've just gone blank. What's his name? Sauce Gardner is another first round pick. Garrett Wilson is another recent first round pick as well. But ultimately, all of these want to leave the organization because of all the dysfunction. So, like I said, I
mm,
just, I just don't trust them to do the right thing for the players. So yeah,
yeah,
I think we're going to put the Jets on the back burner and the Dolphins for at least a year or two because there's going to be a whole scale rebuild going on there. Gito, do you wanna ream off some of your top free agents? So I've mentioned Malik Willis. What are the ones that stand out to you?
um, one we need to look at. We might actually be able to talk about this certain player, but Trey Hendrickson will likely be leaving the Bengals this season. I think so.
Hmm.
There's been a lot of noise about him.
Yeah, he's down.
So
He's
I
down on
think
mine as well, actually.
yeah. So I have a strong feeling about the Baltimore. Well, I say strong feeling, but do I see him moving to a divisional rival? I'm not too sure. But I thought the Baltimore Ravens would be a decent spot for Trey Hendrickson. It would put a massive dent on the Cincinnati Bengals to compete for the playoff places with the Baltimore Ravens, because they'll be looking to improve next season, because they were a letdown last season, to be honest with you. So they'll be looking to improve a lot. Another one that I've written down here before I move on to you, David, if you don't mind me passing this on quickly. The
Yeah.
GM of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are willing to let Mike Evans have a look at the trading block or free agency. It's been there for 12, 13 seasons, I believe. The
Yeah.
new GM thinks that he's earned the right to look elsewhere because he is a caliber of player. But if he decides to stay, then obviously it is for the Buccaneers. But Mike Evans will be one to look at. I think Mike Evans will be a great fit for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, a friend of the pod, Christy Thomas, would be absolutely devastated to hear that, especially him going to San Francisco. Um, I get why they'd say that he's earned the right to test free agency, and I know that's a kind of a loose term that a lot of the GMs and the head coaches use. Do I see him going elsewhere? The only other place, Gito, that I would see him going is ultimately he's already won a Super Bowl ring. Would he want to kind of potentially jump onto a contender outside of the Buccaneers? I mean, the only thing that you've got there is you've got a relatively weak division in the NFC South. So you know that the Buccaneers are going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season in terms of with the Falcons. We don't know what the Panthers are going to be like this year. And I still think the Saints have a long way to go in terms of competing for a division. So they're going to be there or thereabouts, aren't they? So I think if he stays with Tampa Bay, potentially finishes his career there, I think that makes sense. I don't know. I think it would be kind of strange to see Mike Evans outside of Tampa, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, he's going to be an asset. If he does move, he's definitely going to be an asset to whoever picks him. And just back quickly to Trey Hendrickson, Guitar. Although he's 31, he hasn't played a lot recently. And in terms of fits, I can definitely see him to Baltimore. Personally, I'd like to see him go anywhere apart from the Cincinnati Bengals. I think we've expressed a lot over the last 12 months of our existence, our hatred, our dislike of the Bengals organization and especially their defense, and the fact that he just wasn't utilized as a part of the Bengals franchise at all. There was a massive, um, there was a massive. I think there was a hold-in or a holdout rather because they wouldn't pay him. Eventually, they gave him more money just for a 1 year deal. So yeah, throwing out there, I could see either Pittsburgh or Baltimore being an option for Trey Hendrickson. Um, my last one, Guitar, if I may, one that excites me, but I think I know where he's going to go. Is George Pickens. Once
Yes.
of the Pittsburgh Steelers, traded to the Dallas Cowboys, turned into basically in CD Lamb's absence a number one wide receiver. So basically, the Dallas Cowboys have two number one wide receivers. I do see him staying with the Cowboys. However, the only thing that I'd say is Jerry Jones, he doesn't like to pay the big bucks to a lot of his players. We saw Micah Parsons leave during this off-season for exactly the same reason, that they wouldn't pay him. So I wonder, they've just paid CeeDee Lamb a year ago. Are they going to pay two wide receivers? Are they going to do a Cincinnati Bengals with Chase and Higgins? I don't know.
I'm very looking forward to the free agency period. Obviously, it's an exciting time. It's your favorite time of the year in the NFL calendar, because obviously we're used to, football fans. I enjoy watching players moving to different teams, different parts of the countries, and everything, and see how the team develops with those new players. I absolutely love it, and it's an exciting time. So when you think the Super Bowl's done and there's nothing more to talk about between the Super Bowl and the start of the new season, there's a whole lot to talk about and there's a lot to cover here in the free agency market. So I'm very looking forward to the next few weeks.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Me too. So just before we leave you for this episode, we've got just a few. Well, we've got one announcement. If you're into flag football, there is an event going on very, very soon. Again, I'm going to come back to Gito for the details about this. But yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, we have flag football happening in Cardiff, Wales this weekend on Sunday, March the 1st. St. David's Day as well. It's going to be happening in
Yeah.
Eastern Community Campus in Rumney, Cardiff. It starts at 10 o'clock. There's two groups. It's basically a little tournament, a whole day tournament. I'm going to go through the teams with you guys quickly, just to see what we're dealing with. So in Group A, we've got Cardiff Hurricanes, Swansea Hammerheads, Gwent Gators, and Cardiff Bay Coyotes. And in Group B, Rhondda Red Kites, the South Wales Warriors, Cardiff Storm, and Swansea Frenzy. This is going to be an exciting day here in Cardiff. I unfortunately won't be there live. I wish I was. But it's going to be a great day. So make sure you're there, show some support. We'll definitely be following it along. And yeah, great to have some flag football and some more American football being played here in Wales as well. So hopefully it's a good turnout for them. I wish them all the best, and I'm very looking forward to reading all about it. And yeah, it's going to be just to mention in Cardiff, Sunday, March the 1st, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I absolutely. Like I said, many apologies that I won't be able to be there either. If I wasn't working in Doncaster in South Yorkshire on Saturday, I definitely would be able to go down. So yeah, no, absolutely. I love the names, by the way, and it's great. So it's lovely to hear that the South Wales Warriors are getting involved, because that's one team that we talked about on the pod in the past as well. And it's great to hear that there's so many teams within literally a 30-mile radius of where I live here in Cardiff and Swansea and all sorts down here in South Wales. So I wish the event all the best. And like I said, hopefully we'll be able to make it this time next year, or if there's another event later on in the season. Just before we end, Guitar, and again, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share. This episode will be on YouTube within the next 24 hours. Stay tuned. We'll be doing a lot of all across our socials, especially doing free agency. Fair play, Guitar. He's going to be very, very trigger happy when the big deals are going to be landing. He'll be there, and it'll be announced on X. It'll be on Instagram. So yeah, we're going to be ramping things up here over the next couple of weeks, especially as the deals go down. However, unfortunately, we have to finish on a really, really sad and a really tragic note, because for those of you who aren't aware, we lost a really talented NFL player, Rondell Moore. He was only 25, and he passed away a couple of days ago. He made his name as an Arizona Cardinal, which is, I believe, where he played the majority of his couple of seasons in the NFL. I'm not going to go into the details of what happened. If you aren't aware of what happened, I suggest that you'd go looking up. But yeah, we're absolutely devastated to hear the news. I wish. Our deepest condolences to his family and his friends, teammates. I know a lot of teammates have come out and have spoken very, very kindly of him. I saw a video Max Crosby actually put out on social media, and I think he played with Rondell Moore in college, saying how much of a he was an undersized wide receiver, Gito, I believe. He was a speedster, and he never let his size get the better of him. So I couldn't believe it when I woke up to the news a couple of days ago. So yeah, on behalf of us here in the NFL community in Wales and on the NFL Cymru podcast. Rest in peace, Rondell Moore, and hopefully we can just be open and talk about our struggles. I know it's always hard, but yeah, it was absolutely tragic to hear about the passing of Rondell Moore. I'm not sure, Gito, if you want to add anything onto that before we end.
No, I echo everything you said. Obviously, it needs mental health needs to be talked about a lot more. It was devastating for me to wake up on Sunday morning to read the news that at 25 years old, he was found in his home. He was found dead at his home on Sunday morning. So, yeah, from what I've seen, from what I've read on the socials, he was a humble, soft-spoken, and respectful young man. He was a great wide receiver as well. Spent his 3 years at the Arizona Cardinals. He did join the Falcons in 2024, but obviously didn't play a single game due to a knee injury. And then he became a member of the Minnesota Vikings, which, it's a very sad situation, and we send our condolences to his family, to his friends. We pay tribute to him, and no, that's all I've got to say on this one. Very tragic passing, tragic incident. That's all I've got to say to it. Very sad situation, and needs to be talked about a lot more.
I absolutely I can't agree with you more. So so that's it. Like I said, thank you so much for watching, for sticking with us. Like I said, please like, subscribe, follow us on socials at NFL Cymru. Like I said, this episode will be up on YouTube very, very shortly. Gito, thank you very much for your time, for your comments. We'll be back next week as we look forward to free agency and the new year, the new calendar year of 2026. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much.